We had some very interesting games last week in week 2 of the football season, and several interesting games to talk about as we head into week 3 of the high school football season. You're watching Gridiron Central.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College wants to help put you to work. Our programs in business, health, industrial, and public service will train you for the jobs available today. GNTC offers schedules in day, evening, and online classes at 5 campus locations with financial aid options too. You are sure to find a career path that works for you with our variety of degrees, diplomas, and certificates available. Visit us in person or on the web at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College. Your career begins here.
Welcome back to the show. As always, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Georgia Northwestern Technical College, for helping bring Gridiron Central to you for the past 8 years. You will notice that I am flying solo today. My partner in crime, well, not here today. He's on vacation. Hopefully, Matt D will be back with us next week to bring us all of his insights on high school football. For the time being, you're stuck with me. We're going to first talk about last Friday night, run down the scores and a few key takeaways before we show you some highlights from one of the games. Ridgeland beat Chattooga 35-7 last week. Darlington bounces back with a 40-20 win over Bremen. Model rallies for 2 touchdowns late to beat Sonoraville 21-10. Hiram all over Cedartown, 34-14. Paulding County 46, Pepperell 14, Rockmart 30, North Murray 29, Adairsville 52, Woodland 28. Calhoun rallies to beat Dalton 21-14. Lafayette 8, Gordon Central 6. And Tryon 34, Armurchie 7 in a game you'll see highlights for in just a couple of minutes. Few key takeaways from the week. Darlington bounces back big win over Bremen. Offense looked good, defense looked good. Darn does a week off this week. We'll see how they look next week. Model rallied again to beat Sonoraville. Sonoraville's a good team. Model slightly better. We'll see how Model does. We'll talk about Model's game against Christian Heritage coming up soon. Rockmart went for 2 instead of the tie to get that win. If they hadn't got the 2-point conversion, they probably lose at North Murray. Kudos for Ben Turner getting his first win as Rockmart's head coach. And Calhoun really struggled in the first half, but as always, the Yellow Jackets managed to find a way to win late, beating Dalton for the 6th consecutive season. On last Friday, I was out at Armurchie to watch the Tribe take on the Tryon Bulldogs, and videographer Jackson Witzel captured this footage.
Is that right, Jake?
Let's go, bro!
Couple of key takeaways from that game. The Bulldogs' wing tee offense running to near perfection throughout most of the game. Our Murchie had chances. You know, this is a very young team. Coach Mohammed Abdul-Latif has told us they are a young team, and you can see that on the field. You know, our Murchie would get a first down, take an 8-yard sack. You know, they get the ball within the 20-yard line, miss a field goal. However, they did have a fumble return late in the game, had a punt return late in the game. They got called back on a legal block, though. You know, our Murchie's going to get there. I don't know if their record's going to show it this year, but I do believe the Indians are headed in the right direction, especially if everybody buys into what Coach Mo is doing out there at our Murchie. Tryon, on the other hand, 2-0, 2 consecutive wins over Class AA opponents. They're going to take a week off, and they get Class 4A Lafayette next week. If Tryon can get a win there, it's really, really going to help them in the power rankings. After this commercial message, I'll be back, Matt's not here this week, with predictions for how things are going to play out in week number 3.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College wants to help put you to work. Our programs in business, health, industrial, and public service will train you for the jobs available today. GNTC offers schedules in day, evening, and online classes at 5 campus locations with financial aid options too. You are sure to find a career path that works for you with our variety of degrees, diplomas, and certificates available. Visit us in person or on the web at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College, your career begins here.
Welcome back to the show, and as always, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Georgia Northwestern Technical College, for helping bring Gridiron Central to you, our audience. We'll start off tonight, Friday night's action with Coosa visiting Cass. Very interesting game. Both teams 0-1 to start the season. Of course, Coosa lost to Riverwood big a couple of weeks ago, had a bunch of turnovers in the first half. Last week, Cass lost to Cartersville. Very intriguing matchup. Cass is a 5A team this year, moving up from 4A. Of course, Coosa firmly in 7AA. This is a tough call for me. I'm going to go with the Eagles in this. Yes, I know Cass is a 5A team, but I think Coosa, having a week to prepare, having worked on the turnover issues, I think the Eagles will win, but I do think this could be a very close game. Moving on, Christian Heritage at Model 2-0, looking to go 3-0 for the first time since the late 1990s. Gordon Bowers, Model's head coach. If they get this win, this will be his 150th victory as a head coach. You know, the way I look at Model, first 2 weeks of the season, the defense has been solid. 8 points in one game, 10 points in another. Their defense is solid there. The offense is scoring some points. I said to begin the season, I think Model needs to be able to average around 24 to 26 points a game. If the Blue Devils can hit that magic mark offensively, I think they're going to be very difficult to beat. I think they're going to hit that mark against Christian Heritage. I think Model moves to 3-0 on the season. 3 quick picks right away. Our Murchie at Coahulla Creek. Looking at our Murchie schedule, this might be the most winnable game left on their schedule. You never know. I mean, that's looking at the schedule, that's probably what I believe. Do I think they're going to win it? I'm not so sure. Coahulla Creek, obviously, in their 3rd or 4th year as a program, they're starting to gel. Not a particularly great team. We'll see. I do believe I am going to go with the Creek in this one. I think our Murchie's good, but I don't think they're going to be quite good enough to beat the Creek at the Creek. Chattooga at North Murray. Indians last week took it on the nose against Class 4A Ridgeland, a good team. You know, North Murray almost took down Rockmart. When I looked at that game, that probably, to me, says more than anything. I think North Murray is probably about 14 points better than Chattooga in this game. One more game before a commercial break. Cedartown at Northwest Whitfield. In many cases, it's almost a toss-up game for me. You know, Northwest Whitfield, solid team up in 4A. Cedartown, they're down in 3A now. I'm actually going to go with the Bulldogs in this one. I think they will bounce back from their loss last week against Hiram. I believe the Bulldogs do win this game. After a commercial break, I've got 5 or 6 more games to talk about. Stick around.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College wants to help put you to work. Our programs in business, health, industrial, and public service will train you for the jobs available today. GNTC offers schedules in day, evening, and online classes at 5 campus locations with financial aid options too. You are sure to find a career path that works for you with our variety of degrees, diplomas, and certificates available. Visit us in person or on the web at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College, your career begins here.
Got 5 or 6 more games to talk about. Stick around. Welcome back. Bowden traveling to Pepperell. Both teams 0-1 on the season. Pepperell lost to Paulding County last week. Bowden lost to Central Carrollton, a team that is in Pepperell's region this year in Region 5 AAA. Both teams like to run the ball. Bowden's defense is young. Pepperell's defense is young. I believe this is going to be a very close game. I think you're going to see a lot of running. The clock's probably going to go pretty quick because with running games, that's what happens. Really in this game, I think it's going to come down to special teams and turnovers. In this one, Pepperell's at home, so I'm going to go with the Dragons in this one. I thought I was going to go with Bowden, but I am going to go with Pepperell. I'm saying the home field advantage is going to be the key. It's going to be close, and it wouldn't surprise me if Bowden ekes it out, but I'm going to go with Pepperell at home in Lindale. Rome hitting the road to play Newton County High School. This is a Saturday game, so of course we won't have the results until Saturday evening paper. Looking at this game, Newton's a 5A team, Rome's a 5A team. Newton has won 2 games big offensively, their first 2 games, but their opponents, not exactly world beaters. Of course, 2 weeks ago, Rome lost 28-26 against Villarica, a game that, a missed extra point, a dropped 2-point conversion were the only reasons to keep the game from going to overtime. The Wolves played extremely well. The big question here is, can they slow down Newton's offense, which is averaging like 55 points a game right now? Of course, Newton's going to have to worry about Rome's offense, which looked extremely spry against Villarica. Quarterback Josh Perkins threw for over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. If Rome's offense can get going and they can keep the special teams miscues and the turnovers down, I think Rome can actually win this game on the road. I think it's going to be close. I think it could very easily be a shootout. It could be 35-34. It could be 42-41. I think it's going to be very close, but I'm saying the Wolves finally eke out a close victory after having 3 close losses, 2 to end last season and 1 to start this season. I'm going with the Wolves and Franco Perkins in that game. A game that, not quite as big this year because Carrollton already has 2 losses. Carrollton traveling to play Calhoun. Of course, we remember Carrollton ended Calhoun's regular season winning streak last year in big fashion, beating down the Yellow Jackets. Of course, Carrollton in 4A went deep in the state playoffs last year. Carrollton has started the season 0-2 against good competition, so don't put too much into that. Carrollton's still a solid 4A team. Calhoun, on the other hand, last week they had to rally to beat Dalton. Calhoun's young, but they do look good. It's Calhoun. Come on. What do they always do? They tend to win. However, last year I picked against Calhoun in this game, and I was right. 2 years ago I picked against Calhoun in this game, and I was wrong. Calhoun fans rejoice. I'm picking against you again. I'm sorry. Carrollton has not started a season 0-3 since Jimmy Carter was president. The 70s for those that missed the history reference. I'm sorry, I do not see Carrollton starting 0-3 on this season. A loss to Carrollton is nothing to hang your heads about. Calhoun will recover. They'll be just fine. But I do believe the Yellow Jackets fall to 1-1 on the season. 3 quick picks, and then we'll wrap the show up. Gordon Central at Southeast Whitfield. Warriors are getting better. Not good enough to win this game. I go with Southeast Whitfield. Loganville Christian at Unity Christian. Friday night, Ben Brady Field, the Unity Christian Lions finally kick off the season. New head coach Mark Ackerman and company take charge. Look, Unity is going to be a solid team this year in the GICAA. Loganville Christian is a better team. Loganville just reloads every single year. I've watched these guys 2 or 3 times. In previous years, very good program. Unity's a good program too. I think Loganville Christian rolls in this one. Rockmart at Sonoraville. Last game to talk about. This is coin toss central on this one. How many ways to look at it? Sonoraville looked good against Model last week. Couldn't score late. Then again, Model's defense is really good. Rockmart all over the place. Let North Murray get a big lead. Rallied back. Got the win. Big win for Rockmart. I got to say in this game, Rockmart probably got real emotional in that win. It's always hard to turn around and get that second consecutive win after so much emotion. Sonoraville, offense needs some work. If they can score on Rockmart's defense, they'll be okay. It's at Sonoraville. That doesn't scare me that much. I'm actually going to go with Rockmart in this one. I think it's going to be close, but I'm going to go with the Yellow Jackets in this one. After commercial break, we'll wrap up the show.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College wants to help put you to work. Our programs in business, health, industrial, and public service will train you for the jobs available today. GNTC offers schedules in day, evening, and online classes at 5 campus locations with financial aid options too. You are sure to find a career path that works for you with our variety of degrees, diplomas, and certificates available. Visit us in person or on the web at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College, your career begins here.
Welcome back to the show. I know you've missed Matt Davis. He plans to be back with us next week. Of course, Friday night, come to PrepCentralOnline.com. We will have live scoring updates from our area games later in the evening. Articles, photos, stories, coverage, you can name it. Of course, Saturday night, we'll also have live scoring updates from the Rome High game at Newton later that evening. Articles and photos as well. And then next week, Wednesday's Gridiron Central, we'll break it all down, tell you what it means, and give you some predictions for week number 4. For Matt Davis and Jackson Witzel, I'm Jim Allred saying we'll see you on the sidelines.